Hello, YouTube. This is my first post on how I wrote a book. A couple of years ago, I was very heavily invested in starting an Airbnb. I spent 6 months to a year doing extensive research on how to start an Airbnb. One of the things that I kept doing the past few years was always looking for a way to make extra income. And one of the things that I stumbled upon was having an Airbnb without owning property. So that was actually what got me excited and what got me going on starting an actual Airbnb. And now, years later, I wrote a book about it because I believe if I had one guide, one book, one playbook that will help me start up that Airbnb, it would have gone a long way. There are tons of books from other countries, Americas, Europe, but I wanted a book that is very specific to South Africa. And I thought since I've built up some experience having my own Airbnb, assisting my fiance with assisting my fiance with running and hosting an Airbnb. Figured it's about time I wrote one. So started writing a book around, I'd say 2 years ago, but back then I didn't quite know the direction I wanted to go into. I mean, guides and how-to books are very popular, but I wanted to have it differently. And so what I did was I decided to write a book while storytelling. And that's I figured that'll be the easier book to write, right? So a book where the person who's picking it up can relate to what the stories are in the book. So yeah, with that said, I wrote my first book. The first title that I went with was Starting My First Airbnb, A South African Journey. I thought this title was great, but I'll tell you more about why it's not the best title, why I think it hasn't been the best title, and why ultimately I've changed it into something else. I've changed the title, which I'll let you know and reveal later in this video. But yeah, the book, pretty much as I mentioned, the name is Starting My First Airbnb, A South African Journey. It follows four Airbnb hosts, with one of them being the narrator, and goes through their journey on how they started the Airbnb. They are their first Airbnb. So essentially what I did was I took all the learnings that I had a couple of years ago with starting my first one, all the research that I did with the videos, all the amount of videos that I've watched, and all the communities that I'm part of, the different groups around Airbnb. And I took some of those concepts, ideas, and put it into the book in terms of the different types of hosts. So yeah, I think I'm quite excited about it. But yeah, I'm quite excited about it and I hope people buy. At the moment, I'm selling the digital version only, haven't done the print one as the first version, and I'm selling it on Gumroad. And so far, to be honest, it's been out, I'd say probably, let me actually see. It's been out now for about 2 months. Yeah, I've put it out there for about 2 months. But that's the thing. Put up the digital book. It's currently selling on Gumroad for 550. The price point is also something else I want to talk about. And I've put it out there without any content created around it. What I did was I I had to put it out because the book finished I think I had the book finished in about June, but I was too scared. I was too scared to put it out there. And then I decided to, go all in not really all in on it, and I'll tell you why. But I decided to put it out there, post it, put up a listing on Gumroad. For some of you guys who don't know what Gumroad is, Gumroad is a marketplace where people put the digital assets, and a lot of people sell the digital books there. So I decided to put up the book on Gumroad and put a listing up there with the cover picture and everything. And yeah, I put it up on the 7th of August, and then I started running ads. So I have two social media platforms where I started running ads. My personal TikTok and my personal X or Twitter account, for those who still call it Twitter. And the amount of support that I've had especially on X with the people who've been following me, who've been following my Airbnb content, which I posted years ago, was pretty crazy. I had a lot of organic reshares, likes, and not that many comments. But yeah, I forgot. I think I'll do a video. I think I'll do a full video on the ads that I ran for the book. But just to give you an idea, I ran the ads for a couple of weeks on the two platforms. On X, I got about 188,000 views. With thank you to everybody who follows me on X who shared, reposted, and liked. And the biggest highlight for me there was DJ's Boo reposted it. So that was pretty cool. So the book had reached from a lot of people with a lot of, what do you call it? With a lot of following. And I was pretty excited. I thought it would have sold a lot more. But as of now, I've made 3 sales, well, 4 sales, which is 3 sales plus my mother. You know, mothers will always support you. And I've made 3 sales on Gumroad, and my mom put the book offline. But on Gumroad, the first sale I had made was 2 days after posting the book, which was pretty cool. And then it's been almost a month thereafter. So then my second sale was on the 1st of September. And then the third one was on the 7th of October. Shout out to the people who bought the book. I understand the price point hasn't been the best, but I'm pretty grateful for those who bought it. And I hope that they're finding value in the book. Yeah, so it's been quite a journey. Would have hoped that I've had more sales, but as it is, yeah, as it is, to be quite frank, I haven't pushed the book as much as I needed to. I just really put it out there, published it, and then ran ads on it. And sometimes that's not enough. I feel like people want to know the author more. I feel like people want to see content around it more, just to see what kind of value they can get out of the book. So with that said, I'm challenging myself in this month of November just to see how I can actually apply myself and put the book out there in a way that'll get me more sales and also drive value for people to actually gain value out of the book. And then I also ran ads on TikTok. Funny enough, on TikTok I posted just the cover picture. I didn't do any videos, no dances. And I mean, a lot of people get a lot of traction on TikTok nowadays with video content, but I just put the cover of the book and a short abstract, or rather caption. And on TikTok, the book did 600 and no, not even 600, correction. On TikTok, the books did 66.5 thousand views. I mean, that's great. I mean, if you combine both TikTok and X, you're looking at over what? We're looking at probably approximately 150,000 views. But obviously, views don't convert into sales, and that's something that I'm learning. I mean, if we look at the conversion rate from those views on TikTok and X, I got about 40. I keep saying all these high numbers. I got 4.2 thousand visits. So from the links on the ads that I ran, I had 4.2 thousand visits on Gumroad, and that may or may not include all the organic views that Gumroad does, because Gumroad also has, based on the SEO of the product, they'll actually have people landing there and viewing the content. So, I mean, 4.2 thousand is not a small number, but if you look at the conversion rate, conversion rate is a bit sad, because the conversion rate of it is still only 3 books plus my mother. Thanks, Mom. And yeah, I've also had my fiance being very supportive and putting it out there on her Twitter, sharing it with everyone. Just for some context, my fiance is still managing Airbnb, so I support her there on that front as well. And whoever she interacts with, she's been sharing the book with, and she's also an interior designer as well. So any potential clients that she comes across, she's been sharing and plugging the book. But something I do want to say though is, honestly, I haven't pushed the book as much as I feel that I should have. Knowing what I know, content is key, and a big part of me was just shy. I haven't even shared it on my personal WhatsApp or my Facebook just to show you how shy I've been about putting myself out there. And more than anything, it's been about the fear of failure, the fear of people who know me not supporting me or not thinking that the book is a good idea. Um, that's part of the reason I haven't even shared it with my own personal networks, which is definitely something that needs to change. And I'm very big on LinkedIn as well, in terms of I enjoy posting on LinkedIn. My following there is not it's not it's not that big. I wouldn't call myself an influencer, but have plus or minus maybe 1,500 followers there. And some people do say they enjoy my content on LinkedIn. Even LinkedIn, I haven't leveraged yet in terms of putting my work out there. So yeah, I think this month more than anything, the month of September, it's something I really want to change because yeah, I did something. Writing a book is not an easy thing, and I managed to do that. And Airbnb is something I've been very passionate about. I have a lot of thoughts about Airbnb currently in terms of is it still a good time, especially here in South Africa. But nonetheless, I don't think Airbnb is going anywhere. So the opportunity may have come down and there may be a lot of concerns about it, especially in places like Cape Town where the prices of property have really skyrocketed and it's Airbnb is kind of pushing Airbnb is pushing people away from affordable housing, and affordable housing in the city is an issue. But even outside of that, I still believe there is opportunity to grow and make additional income using Airbnb. And in the book, I do cover how you can positively impact your communities while being an Airbnb host, and also additional things like looking at gentrification and how it's impacting different cities in the world. In this case, I look at a use case of Cape Town, and yeah, just basically how can Airbnb still be a positive factor in what do you call it, communities. And I also share my thoughts around the future of Airbnb. I'm not too sure if you guys are following Airbnb, but a couple of months back, the CEO announced how now hotels will also be able to list on Airbnb, which is going to be quite interesting because that'll obviously Airbnb is already a direct competitor to Booking.com, but then it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts the amount of bookings on Airbnb versus Booking.com. But I also share my views on what I believe is the future of Airbnb in terms of having complexes or sections of complexes being dedicated to Airbnbs, building residential, not necessarily residential, building huge skyscrapers and letting the sharing economy or people buy into those huge skyscrapers or hotel-like buildings so that they can run Airbnbs or other short-term rentals. So there are some good ideas, I believe, in the book around how to, well, rather around the future of Airbnb. Yeah, let me take you guys through some of the chapters. Let me talk you guys through some of the chapters in the book. So the book itself is separated into 6 chapters, with the first five being Dream It. So in Dream It, it's about envisioning your journey as a host, what you want to achieve, the Airbnb dream in South Africa. Part two of the book, we call it Planet. And there we're moving from dream to strategy, researching the market, making sure that you know what's happening in the laws, navigating the laws, permissions, and any pitfalls that could impact you legally as well. And then we also talk about budgeting and financial planning. And then on part three of the book, we look at systems for success. So it's very important to put systems in place in order for you to succeed. And as part of that, we talk about the power of first impressions. Well, we talk about me. Yeah, first YouTube video, first big long form video. So quite nervous, but committing to it. Then I talk about budget-friendly furnishing hacks, sourcing unique South African flair, and putting it all together. There's also chapters around the tech stack or the apps that are available to use, systems and the different people you want to work with. Then in part four of it, yeah, mentioned about the first booking being hosting in the wild is one of the chapters. The pricing, how pricing can make or break your Airbnb, adjusting prices during on peak, off peak, then the mindset of a modern host from scrambling to being strategic. We're looking out for burnout and setting boundaries and reflecting and so much more. Then I have part five, which is almost part five is about scaling. How do you actually scale and how do you set up systems to scale and have more Airbnbs? If the first one is going well, choosing your next property, setting up multiple listings and knowing if you're ready for the next one. Then I also talk about my favorite Airbnb model, which is Airbnb art arbitrage, and speak about co-hosting. So with Airbnb arbitrage is basically renting a property and running Airbnb on that instead of owning the property. So that's really what got me excited and got me to get into Airbnb as a form of generating income. Then I have some bonus chapters there, talking about responsibility in the Airbnb ecosystem, sustainable tourism, fair housing, community well-being, actionable insights on that. Then protecting local areas from gentrification. That word is such a gentrification. And the final chapter, bonus chapter, talking about I speak on the future of Airbnb, which is purpose-built short-term rental spaces. As I mentioned before, that's my recommendation on how I see the future of Airbnb. But now, so that's the different chapters in the book. Something I do want to say this, before I wrap this video up, I decided to give the book a different name because I clearly saw that from all the ads that I've been running, from the people who've accessed the link, it's just not catching on, and it's not getting people's attention enough to actually make that purchase. And because of that, I thought of three things I can change. I thought of three strategies that I can implement immediately after having the book out for a couple of months and seeing the results, and obviously also not pushing enough content around it. The first thing was the price point. Currently, I'm selling it for 550 rands. If we wanna, for the people who wanna talk about it in dollars, it works out to about between 30 dollars to $32 based on the exchange rate between the rand and the dollar. And with the new with a new book, well, the new name, my new pricing is going to come down now to about 350. Some part of the reason I actually decided to decrease the price because I can clearly see from the amount of people who accessed the book that the price point was an issue. Considering that it is my first book, haven't really built too much authority around the Airbnb space, even though I have had some viral posts, but I haven't been consistent in posting about it throughout the years. I do understand that people still need to know more about me as an author and they still need to trust me before I can sell it at a higher price point. So I decided to reduce the price by 200 rands, which is quite significant, but I do believe it's necessary and essential for people to be able to tap into what I'm about and also to get that value from the book. And then the second thing that I decided to do was change the name because the name of the book was starting my first Airbnb, a South African journey. I believe it paints the wrong picture in the sense that I believe people might think that this is me documenting my experience and how I started my first Airbnb. And when I was reflecting on that name, it made me think about maybe that name, maybe people aren't that interested in knowing how I started my first Airbnb. Maybe not for a full book. And I did explain the contents of it and the different sections of it. So I believe the name didn't do it any justice. So now I've changed the name of the book to South African Airbnb Playbook. I believe that'll be a stronger name. It's a stronger name that will actually get people excited to read. And yeah, so that's the second one. And then the third one is visuals are everything. The visual, I like the first cover that I made. I think it was nice, but with the name change, I decided to make a few minor additions to the cover with I'm not too sure if I can actually edit this video and add the different pictures here, but I'll try showing them on the screen some way. But yeah, I think with the new name, what do you call it, which is South Africa Airbnb Playbook, I think, yeah, man, I actually think it'll go well. I think it'll capture people's attention and who knows, even impact, who knows, maybe even get more sales. But let me just check something. Just want to see something. Yeah, that's South Africa Airbnb Playbook. It's a new name. I also need to get used to it. Much shorter, much punchier. And yeah, so the three things that I changed since the launch a few months ago to try and improve sales and help people get the book and also deliver value. Firstly, price point, moving the price from 550 to 350, just so people can connect with me as a writer, as this is my first book, but I'm very passionate about Airbnb, no matter the current state of it, and I'm happy to talk about it there. The second thing is changing the name from starting my first Airbnb, a South African journey, because I felt like it didn't really capture the amount of value that is in the book, and changing the name to a South African Airbnb Playbook. And then the third one is changing the cover. So I'm quite excited. I'll be publishing the new book with its new cover soon on Gumroad. And yeah, I hope you guys will be keen enough to actually give it a go. Look at the description page there, see the different chapters that I have. I promise you there's tons of value packed in this book. And the best thing about it is you get to experience the book in different styles. Well, you get to experience the book as different hosts with a different styles. So yeah, I think at the moment we have four people who have written into the book. Who we have Renee, Priya, and other two fictional characters who walk us through the journey. As I mentioned, this is from my own experience, from a lot of research that I've done, and also from getting a lot of information from different communities that are part of the Airbnb space globally and in South Africa. This book is a true game changer, if I do say so myself, for the Airbnb space in South Africa. And yeah, I put my heart and soul in it. As time goes, the book will get improved. I'll be editing it and iterating it and working my way to have the physical copy of it. And yeah, so yeah, I'll probably be making a lot more videos, just talking about the book, putting out some free resources, having some content, and talking about some of the mistakes I've done putting out a book or slash a digital product. Digital products they're quite popular and they've been for a couple of years. So this is my first experience with putting out one as well. So I'm quite excited and hope to share key learnings with you guys on that. And yeah, this is to my first video. I'm gonna have it. I'm probably not even gonna edit it much, and we'll probably have a lot of content coming out of it as well. And yeah, looking forward to interacting with you guys, having more offerings around the book. I have been working on a website as well that can help new hosts and existing hosts. So I'll probably launch that in a few months. And yeah, let's see how it goes. Excited. Going fully in this time. A lot of content, a lot of testing, putting out ads, seeing how things work, and just how my adjustments, my planning, my strategies actually impact sales is something that I'm quite excited about. And now we're nearing about 30 minutes. If you've made it this far, if you've made it this far of the video, please do like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, join me on this journey as I try to make more book sales while delivering value to people who want to start Airbnbs and run them. Ciao.